Bonjour et bienvenue à Finish My Story, where we try to tell narratively complex stories one line at a time.
I don't know what it was in the middle of that introduction.
Yeah.
I think I learned French.
Oh,
Because
really?
everything made sense to me after, like, the halfway point of
Oh,
it.
yeah. It all sounded like English. Yeah, it's magic.
Well, it didn't sound like English. I just understood it.
You understood it. It was
So,
all French.
Now I speak French.
I think everyone in the audience, too, congratulations. We're actually speaking in French right now.
Is this how Rosetta Stone works?
Wait, this is just like Chidi Anagonye in The Good Place. He speaks French, but everyone hears him as English.
Yeah, but they sort of, like,
They kind of dropped that,
later
yeah.
on.
I feel like they just were like, we don't want to have to deal with this again. Anyway, welcome to Finish My Story.
That got very deep for a
Yeah,
second.
we did. Where we try to tell narratively complex stories, as I said.
One line.
At a time.
And here we are. We're all here. Who are we? I don't know. Who's that guy over there?
I'm Les and I'm a storyteller.
I'm Jonathan, and I'm a screenwriter.
And I'm Peter, and I'm an improv actor.
We did that out of order this time. That was
I know,
weird.
that's
That was
fun.
crazy.
I
dig it.
Happen. Who knows what's going to happen on this podcast? Anything could go down.
Unpredictable.
Wow, wow. And we're here, and it's been a couple weeks.
Yet span.
Yeah, it's been a fun time. I hope you enjoyed our Valentine's Day special. Our new story punishment for Les will be up tomorrow. We wanted to make sure everyone had a time to listen to hear how Les will get punished, and we'll talk about what that means later. But that was my favorite episode we've done so far.
That was a really good one. Yeah.
Well, because you're not getting punished.
Well, whose fault is that, Les? God's fault. Say hi, guys. What are you up to? What have you been watching? What have you been listening to? What's your narrative structure going on?
Actually, I've been trying to get all of the Oscar movies in because
Ooh, yes.
Oscar season the Oscars are just around the corner. And I actually saw an amazing movie called Fantastic Woman.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
And it's about it's
Is it about a fantastic woman?
well, yes, but the reason why she's fantastic is because she's transgender.
Ooh.
And it's actually, without giving too much away, it's basically her boyfriend dies, and it's
Without giving too much away.
well, no, that's known.
That's the end.
Her boyfriend dies because it's the beginning, and she has to deal with his family, with society, and even though she's his spouse, it's what she had to go through, and it gets very intense, but it's very good.
That sounds like a good premise, actually. I was going to make a joke about Fantastic Woman and it being a sequel to J.K. Rowling's Fantastic Beasts.
Somewhere to but there's something that's just not right about saying that.
Yeah, it sounds really bad, so we're definitely editing that out.
Nope.
Oh. Recently, I watched Annihilation, which is the sci-fi movie with Natalie Portman.
That no one went to see, unfortunately.
Well, there's a whole other backstory with that, and I'm not going to get into it because it's, who cares. But Alex Garland, written and directed, he did like Ex Machina, and he wrote Sunshine and Back to the Beach, which is everyone's favorite Leo movie.
I thought you were going to say The Future,
The
and I was
Beach.
like, wait a minute.
Oh my God, I remember that movie, The Beach.
Fondly, as I can tell by the tone of your voice.
I just loved every minute of it, and I saw it on TV and still was annoyed by it.
Well, then you missed all the good stuff. Anyway, Annihilation is like, it's an art film for sure, because it's not quite like Aliens, where it's just a bunch of people going to shoot a bunch of whatever. It's a thinker. It's not for everyone, but if you're into that kind of like experience when you go to the movie, there's nothing better than it. It's beautiful to look at, and it has a really cool like message, and it all comes together. But again, it's not for everyone, and I don't know if you know like Tarkovsky, who did like Solaris
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
Stalker. It's like that,
Oh.
but made for a modern audience. And all you foreign listeners will get to see it on Netflix in like a week because of the international.
Oh, right, those assholes in other countries.
Well, they didn't know how to market
We
it.
love you, Peru.
They thought it was too smart.
Yeah.
And clearly by me saying how much I liked it, I'm being modest. but it's great. Check it out. Go see it in the theater if you can, because we need to support it. Because I, as a screenwriter, like those movies and want to make them and want to have a career.
Right. That's a good thing to want as a screenwriter, a career.
Yeah, some say it's selfish, but it's the simple things.
What are you going to do?
All right, Peter, what have you been ingesting narratively?
Well, I have been binging, because that's healthy. How to Get Away with Murder. It's my first Shondaland show.
What? I love it. Are you going to watch it this week when they're doing a crossover with Scandal?
No. I'm still in the second
God.
season on Netflix. I didn't know they were doing a crossover with Scandal.
Yes. I love How to Get
And
Away with
I
Murder.
really like it's a great show. Jonathan, have you watched it?
I have not, but
It's
they
a good
film
show.
a bunch of episodes on my street. I see
Okay.
it all
Really?
the time, yeah.
Well, guess what? Those kids are the dumbest fucking kids in the entire world. I'm only on season 2. Les, you
Oh,
better not spoil
Just
anything
wait.
for me.
Oh, just wait.
God, they're all so dumb.
From the outside
It's-
perspective, it sounds like these kids do not know how to get away
They're-
with murder.
They,
You're at Oh, just wait, Peter.
it's just they're so bad
worse.
at everything they do, and I can't. They're so It's not even the problem is they're competent, but they're also just all idiotic. They're all so bad at using their fucking brains, and it drives me nuts. Also, the show does this thing where it flashes back, and I'm sure that's fun if you're watching it every week. But when you're binging it, man, it's like I just watched this. They flash back like 20 times an episode to shit that happened earlier in the episode.
Oh, you know
Wait,
what?
what?
Because I watch it when it's first out in real
Yeah.
time. That I never thought about that. Because
Yeah.
for me, it's like I'm happy that they back up because
Yeah, but it's like, oh my god, watching it on binge, it's like, I get it. I just saw this. But even so, it's like, ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. They make these big sounds. It's
That's like every episode has a version of what sitcoms used to do, of like the best of
Exactly.
the
Clip
past,
shows,
the
yeah.
138th episode
I
spectacular.
think
of
they
Simpsons.
write about 36 pages for a 42-page script, and the other, like, 6 pages are just stuff we've seen already. Like, I'm convinced.
Well, Les is into it.
Listen, it's a good show. I like it a lot. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just airing my grievances.
You
because
just
I
want
knew
that
there would
extra
be
6
someone-
minutes every week.
I want that extra 6 minutes. I want to hear stop hearing the ka-chung. You know?
Bringing down the bars. That's what that
It's
sounds like.
it's like weird. I'm telling you, man.
Shonda can do no wrong, though.
No,
No.
she can't.
She
Except for Grey's Anatomy, which is wrong.
get out of here, okay?
Peter,
I'm gonna tell you right now.
How dare
Shocker.
you?
Grey's Anatomy. What is
How
a shocker?
Dare you?
That Grey's Anatomy is a
That I
great
don't
show
like
and
it.
went for like 35 seasons.
I
That's just a
love
ripoff.
Meredith.
It's just Scrubs, but then they made it like
It's not Scrubs and it's not MASH, so let's not talk shit about
And
Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy keeps on like remaking, like it keeps on rebooting itself.
you
on
keep
its own.
rebooting yourself.
Don't do that. That's hurtful. I can see Les right now. He's shutting down and rebooting.
Guys, Les is actually a robot.
right?
In case you didn't know.
It's actually LE5, but we call him Les.
Blade Runner 2049.
We're not gonna go back to that
We're not going
episode,
back
are we?
that well. Uh-oh.
Back to Hong Dynasty China.
Han. And there's no G there.
It's silent. I don't know what I'm saying.
Guys,
half the
let's get
time.
into it. I don't know what I'm saying. Check the wallet, Michael. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, let's get into it. If it's your first time listening, welcome. Go back, listen to the other episodes after this one, particularly the ones we mentioned in the other episodes. What does that mean? You have to listen. And we're going to try to tell this story, but we do some different things, like, what do we do, Les? Or, you know what? What do we do, John?
Story pause.
What?
Every
What's
once
that?
in a while, if someone says something that we just need like a moment to break down and figure out what's happening, we'll story pause. We'll pause the story.
Okay. How do we do that?
I'll scream out story pause.
Or I'll scream out that, or Les will scream that out.
Right.
Someone will scream it out, and it'll just take a break to either elaborate on what was said or clarify it or just give the other person shit for it being
That's what
stupid.
it is 90% of the time.
It's mostly us giving each other shit.
Yeah.
But to get back into it,
Mm-hmm.
I will say resume story.
Or story resume.
Thank you, Peter.
And that's not all we do. We also, Les, fresh off the heels of his, as we mentioned, story punishment. Tell us what that is, Les.
So if you get a detail wrong,
Like a name.
like a name,
Like a
or-
name of an aunt.
like a name or a place or any other details wrong, you get a story punishment.
because you get
Punished.
binged.
Bing.
Bing.
And we count out the amount of bings, and the person with the most bings at the end of the episode will get punished. You can vote for the punishment on our social media accounts. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Finish My Story Podcast, and on Twitter at Finish Story Cast, because there's less letters allowed in the username. So that's what we're going to be doing. We'll put up after this episode drops, we'll put the next day up, vote for last week's punishment. Hopefully no one gets punished. It's been a while since we've had one, but Les just couldn't remember Aunt Petunia's name. No.
Like a jerk.
Yeah. and that's and now embarrassing shit will happen to him.
You were very like infomercial just a minute ago. I was so ready to buy, but there was A, no number, and B, no product. So I guess I'll just have to keep my money.
Oh, okay. So we talked about it's Oscar week. Next week, this Sunday, Hollywood Boulevard is closed. If you're not in LA, you don't know what that means. If you're in LA,
Sunday,
you know that it means
It's a nightmare.
It's a friggin' nightmare, and traffic is ruined. And if you're like me and you work in a tourism industry where you have to go to Hollywood Boulevard, your life is not but hell. So, so let's do something Oscar related, shall we? The last year's Best Picture winner also won.
Of course, La La Land.
Yes. Yes.
Am I wrong?
No,
I turned it off early. I don't know.
no.
You did? Did you really?
No.
It was also won Best Adapted Screenplay, so it's fitting. It's Moonlight. Although we looked it up, and the opening line in the script is not the opening line in the movie.
And it's almost like the Academy doesn't actually read the screenplays.
Right.
It's like they watch the movie and they go, "Yeah, that was written good," and then they just give out the gold. But I mean, I'm not saying that from out of any bitter part of my heart. But
As a screenwriter, definitely
as
not.
a screenwriter, no, I don't think you should read the screenplay at all. I mean, yes, it's the blueprint for a movie, and it only matters about how good the movie is. That I agree with, actually. But if it's a screenwriting category, you definitely don't want to look at the screenplay.
No, definitely not.
Okay,
No.
so you were saying about the screenplay
So I'm
being
saying
different.
we're gonna go with the opening line from the movie, right? That's what we've decided.
Yes.
Because the movie's the thing that matters.
Yeah, and there's some like background chatter, but this is the first line spoken by one of our main actors, the great Mahershala Ali of Moonlight. Who's gonna start us off this week?
I'll start us off.
Okay, who's gonna go after Les?
I will follow Les.
Okay, then I will go after you, and then Les will go, and then John will go, and then Peter will go, and then John. Nope, I already screwed it up.
Man, that's a bing.
That would be a bing
Bing.
if we were in the story. But
I
we're
like
not.
how our bings outside of the actual story are so different.
Yeah.
From like, it's like we're all excited, enthusiastic. We go, "Oh, it's Bing," and then in the story we're just like, "Bing." I think. that
Bing,
was-
I think it was.
I don't
or
wanna, like-
Or last week when we got him, we were both very excited. It
Little
was like
excitement.
A bing! Like, we
Definite-
were so happy to get
Definite
someone.
judgment going
Yeah.
on. It's like,
I got judgy eyes from both of you.
We actually have we have different eyes that we pop in.
well, speak for yourself.
That was weird. Let's go. All right. I hope you enjoy our story.
What's up with Chew?
Bless you, man.
No, I was asking, what's up with you?
Because Dwayne had a very bad cold.
And Nikolai did not want to catch said cold.
And as English was not Nikolai's first language, he could not understand that Dwayne was asking him what was up with Chew, and thought he was asking him or sneezing.
So Nikolai answered back, Chew? What means chew?
Story pause. I was really quick to do the story pause.
Yeah.
Nikolai is a Russian-ish name,
Yes.
and I don't know what that accent was, but I'll allow it.
Yeah, I have no idea what that accent was. And coming
Yeah.
off of last week with our amazing accents, whoo boy. We'll see how this one goes.
Resume story. While there was constant miscommunication between Dwayne and Nikolai, one thing was undeniable: their chemistry.
They both were the top scientists at a pharmaceutical chemistry lab. And they both loved each other.
They were passionate about being pharmacists.
And lovers. With lots of passion.
In fact, this is why they had invented a drug that would let men last longer. It was called
Lastinium.
Storybots, we're heading into trouble right now. All right, story resume.
Unfortunately, Lastinium's chemical composition was unstable, and making said drug was dangerous for everyone involved.
Especially when there were foreign antibodies in the air. But this was not something that either Nikolai or Dwayne knew.
So as they did experiments with their test tubes, both Nikolai and Dwayne couldn't keep their hands off of each other.
And hence, in doing so, created a dangerous environment in which dangerous chemicals could affect one or both or one of them.
Achoo! Dwayne actually sneezed.
And when he sneezed, he moved his arm and knocked one of the test tubes off of the table.
Nikolai, believing that Dwayne asked him, "What's up with you?" was too distracted to catch the falling chemicals.
And as the common cold bacterium from Dwayne's sneeze drifted towards the ground, they mixed with the chemicals from the test tube, and a vapor started to rise.
So as the vapor rose, both Nikolai and Dwayne started to feel funny.
And Dwayne, in a bout of heroics, pushed Nikolai out of the room and closed himself in with the contamination.
Nikolai watched in horror as Dwayne suddenly disappeared, and all that was left was a small rock.
Holy shit! What's this rock? Nikolai yelled.
Dwayne! Dwayne! Can you hear me? He said in his accent, which was blended from many countries.
Where have you gone? I cannot find you.
And then a voice said, "I'm down here. I'm down here. Help me, help me."
The chemicals had made Nikolai hallucinate. He thought the rock was Dwayne, the scientist boyfriend.
Dwayne? Is that you? Why, you look so weird. You look like a rock.
Yeah, the vapor's got a hold of me, and this is what happened.
The clock struck 2 p.m., and the new shift of scientists were arriving to the scene.
Wait, don't go in the room. There is Dwayne in there, but you might see that he has turned into a rock, Nikolai tried to say.
But everybody just thought that Nikolai was weird and brushed past him as they entered into the lab.
If you go in there, the chemicals inside will make you hard rock.
Oh, Nikolai, no one ever can understand what you're saying, all the scientists said, and shuffled in, shuffling their feet in a manner that they normally walked, which would surely kick up anything from the ground if there were anything down there.
So the leftover vapor went around the room, touching all of the scientists in that room.
It was almost as if this smoke were sentient, like the smoke monster from Lost. But this story will explain it.
You see, it wasn't sentient. It just appeared that way because of the way the drafts from the vents in the air conditioning in the lab spun the smoke around.
All of a sudden, one by one, the scientists turned into rocks.
Which ironically was the purpose of the drug, but not in that exact way.
Story pause. That was good.
Tried to get there earlier, but
hard as a rock. Yeah, it took me a moment.
Never mind.
I just went from 6 to midnight. Story resume. Oh no! Now there's all these other scientists in here who look like rocks, and I will not be able to find my love, Dwayne.
Help us, help us, help us, help us, help us, help us, help us. All the rocks yelled.
If I do not turn off air and vent circulation, the vapor will affect more people. I must stop this.
For my love and for the rest of the world.
So Nikolai ran into another room and put on a hazmat suit.
Not because it was necessary or because what he was wearing wasn't already safe from further contamination, but because he liked the look and feeling of said hazmat suit.
Oh, this hazmat suit is so comfortable. I love it so much.
Nikolai realized that he should get all of the rocks out of that room and go somewhere else and work on a cure.
Nikolai had done something similar back in his native land of wherever the hell he came from. When a contamination broke out and he, on his own accord, outsmarted the problem.
So, he gathered all the rocks, put them in a bucket, then turned off the AC via the thermostat and headed to a different laboratory.
He went to the laboratory of his friend and fellow countryman, Ivan.
God.
Ivan, however, was a mute.
Ivan, Can you help me with my problem? These rocks are all people, and I need to make them into people again.
Ivan wrote on the whiteboard that was in the lab, "Sure, I'd be happy to help."
Of course, he did not write that in English, but since we all understand the language from whence he came, it was translated to us by our brains.
Good, I'm glad you can help me. Because especially other than just these people, my lover is in there. You need to help me save Dr. Johnson.
Ivan wrote on the whiteboard, "We have 24 hours to reverse this problem, or they're all going to be stuck like that."
Nikolai grew weary of Ivan and wondered how he knew this specific case was in that way and how he knew what he knew. He grew suspicious.
But even with that suspicion, he knew that he needed to find the cure quickly. So he would remain suspicious, keep one eye open as they did their work.
Ivan grabbed a bunch of test tubes and a Bunsen burner.
Nikolai removed a single dosage of the drug that he and Dr. Johnson worked on together and heated it up with inside the test tube, hoping to recreate said vapor that turned his partner into a rock.
But there was no luck, as the steam that was created from the melting drug escaped and landed on one of the other rocks in the bucket. That rock became very cold.
Ivan wrote on the whiteboard, if they have double exposure to the steam from this drug, they will be trapped as stones forever.
Nikolai grew even more suspicious, and instead of keeping just one eye on Ivan, he kept both eyes on him.
Suddenly, the rock that was cold spoke up. "Help me! This is Dr. Austin! I need your help! I'm very cold, and I'm a stone."
Don't worry, Steve. We're trying to help you. Ivan wrote on the whiteboard.
"Why is nobody saying anything?" said Steve, the doctor, Rock.
"Oh, sorry. You see, Ivan is a mute. He wrote that, 'Don't worry, Steve, we're trying to help you.'"
So while Nikolai and Steve were chatting, and while Nikolai was calming Steve down, Ivan went into a back room.
23 hours and 15 minutes later, Ivan came back out of that room.
"All right, I think I have seen the cure from Ivan's hands," Nikolai said. "Otherwise, why would he be back? I am narrating this to you rocks who cannot see and are very worried.
Ivan wrote on the whiteboard, "This is the cure, but I'm not going to give it to you freely."
Nikolai, not one who was great with the English language, thought that Ivan was referring to the band, The Cure.
Why didn't you write that in our language like you have been this whole time?
Ivan started to talk. "I'm not really mute. I've been fooling you this entire time."
Oh my god, Ivan, this is incredible. You can talk? This is good.
Yes, I can talk, and I can make special concoctions, and I can kill, for I am the mad scientist, Ivan the Terrible.
Wah ha 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 ha.
I don't know, you seem like a cool guy to me, not terrible.
All right, I'm not that terrible, but you will need to pay for this cure that you have.
Story pause. Ivan has not been talking for who knows how long. He has no accent when he comes out, and now he's picking up Nikolai's accent.
Only slightly.
Slightly.
He's been around him for 23 hours, He hasn't talked ever.
Around him. Story resume.
"Nikolai, I want $1 million in Bitcoin, or I will keep the cure to myself," Ivan said.
Why would you do this? This is not nice. Explain yourself.
I don't need to explain myself. I'm not one of those villains who will monologue. But, to make his long story short, I need money to save my sister. Also, I came up with a way to turn everyone here into rocks by mixing codes with your drug. You really should have been more careful when creating it.
"What is wrong with your sister?" Nikolai asked.
Age.
She is 36 now, but she looks 38, and she is a professional actress and model, which means her life will be very much difficult for her.
"Well, I could make you a face mask that will take age off of her."
No deal. Like your boyfriend, my heart is hard like stone.
All right, well, I don't know what this Bitcoin is, but I can give you $1 million because right now I own a blockbuster video chain which is very successful here in the year of 1996. So I am very rich. But please, you must help my boyfriend.
Wait a minute. I could possibly own a blockbuster? Ivan asked.
They had been talking so long about Blockbuster Video now that they were only 6 minutes away from the 24-hour mark that Ivan had known for a fact was the ticking time clock.
Oh shit, I just looked at my watch and we are only 6 minutes away. Here, take the deed to my Blockbuster Video and we save my friends and my lover.
It's a deal, Ivan said.
And when Ivan reached out to hand the cure to Nikolai, Ivan sneezed and the cure slipped out of his hands.
The sneeze particles mixed with the cure particles in the air and landed on all of the rocks, who sprung to life, but they were now not meager scientists.
They were scientists with superpowers.
The one downfall is that they kind of looked like the mucus people from the Mucinex commercials. Only slightly.
Oh no, this isn't good, Nikolai said. Can you fix this quickly? Please make them look not like mucus people.
Yeah, they're pretty disgusting looking. I don't want to look at them anymore, so I'll whip up a cure.
"18 minutes later.
Wow, this looks like a great cure. Let's use it. And Nikolai sprayed the cure all over the mucus people, who suddenly were now glistening, muscly, beautiful men, 6 foot and up, and the women were also muscly.
All of a sudden, Nikolai sees Dwayne. Dwayne!
They ran across the room towards each other in slow motion and embraced in midair.
Dwayne, you look so different now. You're still so handsome and I still love you, but you're now 6'3" and you are incredibly built. Maybe your life should not be as a scientist, but instead as some professional kind of superpower man.
That's a good idea, Nikolai. And you know what I'll call myself? The Rock.
Wait a second. Do you smell that?
Yelled Steve. Someone's cooking something. I think The Rock is cooking something. But I'm on board this plan. What should I call myself? I was very cold when I was a stone.
Ivan says, how about Stone Cold Steve Austin?
I don't like it, said Steve.
Wait a minute, Nikolai said. Where are Doctors Harrison, Henry, and Hobarth? I see one person where there should be 3 H's.
The person looked at Ivan, Nikolai, and Dwayne. And Steve.
I will be called 3H.
Wow, that sounds like a great name. We shouldn't change it. But we should really think about the fact that 3 people are now 1. Well, never mind.
And then Dwayne says, you know, I'm a little stressed out about this whole thing. Why don't we go on vacation to Wakanda?
I've never heard of such place, but I suppose we could. But after all of this, I feel I too should change my name. I always like American name Vince.
And I am a man, and I love McDonald's. So I'll be Vince McDonald's man.
Story pause. Les is so unhappy right now. I don't know if he's like laughing to himself or if he just wants to die.
What a dumb story.
Well, and people say that the WWE or WWF is not scripted. This is proof.
This is unscripted.
Story resume.
That's a wonderful idea, Dwayne told Steve and Nikolai.
Happy to have Dwayne back. Nikolai, now Vince McDonald's man, hugged Dwayne closely and thought out loud in a voice, saying, "Do you have something hard in your pocket, or are you just happy to be a man again?"
And they kissed tenderly. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Vince McDonald's man embraced.
And they lived happily ever after.
As entertainers.
The end.
Question mark?
So that's how the WWE was founded, guys.
Okay,
WWF.
I really had to dig deep into my knowledge of the WWE.
Well, all of our references are
Well,
like
no, because
20
mine
years
are
old.
Yeah, me too.
because see, I remember the WWE when it was the WWF.
That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
And it was like, Junkyard Dog and Rowdy Roddy Piper and
Italian,
Hulk
that's
Hogan.
even more old school.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan and
That's why the year was 1996.
Yeah, you gotta ground it.
Yeah.
We didn't have the Hardy Boys in there.
Yeah.
Or like,
I was trying to think of other ones we could do. I was thinking maybe his sister could be Lita.
see that
But that
that's
doesn't-
I don't know where.
Yeah.
That's like too of a deep
I
dive for
can't
me.
think of any other. But I did realize while telling, I was like, we got to make one of the other ones Stone Cold. And I was like, wait a minute, he's got Rock in his name, Stone Cold. What are the chances that the Rock faced Stone Cold? Like, that's still a little strange.
Things that keep me up at night.
Yeah, clearly.
I wonder.
What a weird fucking story.
Well, it's very informative though, because I always
Yeah.
wondered how the WWF was formed, and it was in 1996
In a
by
laboratory.
scientists
right.
Yeah.
who accidentally found themselves transformed into rocks.
Yeah.
It's really it's eye opening. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
I guess that's what you learned. What did you learn from the story? Is that what you learned? Did you learn anything else?
I learned a lot. I want to know exactly
That's
what I want to say first,
Got it.
but I'm gonna pass it
Does
to
anyone
you.
have less? Do you have something you learned off the top of your head?
Oh, God.
Off the top of your head?
I can go. I learned that
learned,
love conquers all.
especially in science.
Yeah. Love trumps science.
Too soon.
As long as the love is rock solid.
Ayo. I want to say we are recording in the same theater space in which they did filming for The Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
And I think the ghost of Tommy Wiseau
Really?
just took Peter's body over and made that Nikolai's accent. Because it went really Wiseau.
far. I tried to get even. I was listening. I tried to get un-Wiseau-ish at times. You hit some Wiseau-ish moments, my friend.
I definitely did, because I was taken over by the ghost,
Yes.
the living ghost of Tommy Wiseau. But I think you're a liar, Peter, and I think you did that on purpose.
Was not. I was trying to be as
It was
weird as-
not.
I think it's fitting that when you try to do the weirdest accent possible, it comes out sounding like Tommy Wiseau.
Just because he's an alien.
Yeah. Les, did you learn anything?
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
I learned, be careful in the lab.
That's a good one.
Be careful with fire.
Yep.
And,
I did just learn that one myself.
And, don't judge a book by its cover.
Because it might be The Rock.
Right.
What?
What did you learn, John?
I learned that if you have the opportunity to save your lover/partner and yourself, only save your lover/partner and leave yourself behind.
Because then you could become the Rock?
Yes.
Got it. That makes sense.
Anytime when you're faced with danger, you succumb to it.
Yeah.
And you might come out stronger. And taller.
And buffer. And the sexiest man alive.
Well,
Right.
that's not just opinion. That's fact.
That's fact. People made it fact.
People made it fact.
Cool. Well, I'm glad we all stayed in it. I'm glad
And on the path
of man, that got fucking weird. Thank God we weren't talking about gay sex. And rock hard penises. Because now it's explicit because I just talked about it.
It was so subtle, Peter.
I really, really did want to bring up that the payment for Ivan was going to be a hand job in a car.
That's not worth it.
No, given the movie that we started the starting line with.
Yeah, but it's such a different.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Let's.
I know. It didn't come up naturally, so I didn't bring it up.
Well, that's why you have that drug, so you can help it come up unnaturally.
You could last with the
Womp,
lastinium.
womp, womp.
Was it lastinium or longinium?
Lastinium. Yeah. I
It
knew it
sounds
was
like
Lastin, but I couldn't remember the rest of it, and I was like, I'm not gonna get binged. So I just said the drug.
Reminded me of the Duracell bunny, in which it just keeps going and going. Yeah. Yeah, banging the drum.
That's what she said.
Or
he said.
That's what I learned this week.
Great, guys. Thank you for listening. Remember to go and vote on Les's Story Punishment at Finish My Story Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and Finish Story Cast on Twitter. Tell your friends. Rate us. Review us. Send us emails. finishmystorypodcast@gmail.com. Just, connect with us. I know you're out there. I know you're listening, Jim. I don't know if there's a guy named Jim listening.
Oh, there's
If there
always
is,
a guy named Jim.
he will be freaked out.
I know. The problem is I know some people who actually listen, and I didn't want to say their names because they're less generic names. So,
Less?
Anything you guys need to add before we go? Plug things like that?
If you like this podcast, I have a new podcast.
You do?
Coming up. Yes, I do.
What's it called?
It's called He Just Loves the Hallmark Channel.
Oh, is it about the Hallmark Channel?
It is. Nope. Well, okay, so it's about me, Les, who is gay, and my straight, cynical friend, Kurt. And I love Hallmark movies. He hates Hallmark movies. And so we basically debate various Hallmark movies. And we will have special guests as well.
Like who?
Like Peter.
Uh-oh.
And John.
Me?
And a host of others.
Never thought you were going to say a hoe.
Yeah, he just did. Peter and John.
Oh, well, that's two hoes.
Two hosts. It's true. John, anything? I feel like you've been busy, too.
I do want to tell everyone that I was a guest on another podcast called
Cheater.
Single AF. You call me a cheater on the Single AF podcast, where I talk about sort of just how dating sort of sucks, and
it sucks.
The recent debauchery I've found myself in, and just sort of like more about my life. If you want to hear this voice some more, here's some more jokes. Check out Single AF. It's on iTunes, and find it on Instagram. I'll be posting it on my Instagram.
You'll find out why John stuck his dick in an electrical socket last week.
Ooh.
and how I got it to fit.
Oh.
That never happened, Les. I know you know.
Like, oh, ouch.
I will say I'm kind of. I mean, I'm trying to move away from that a little bit. You told me that your podcast was going to be called Robo Love with Lesbot?
Oh, that's the other one.
Okay, that's.
It's not Lesbot. It's LE5.
Well, he's gone through different upgrades.
Yeah. To the operating system. The less. Well, never mind.
Less is more bot.
Anything else, guys, you need to add?
Keep listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed today. I hope you have a great time eating your food. I'm assuming right now you're eating lunch. Probably eggs, maybe a salad. I think there's probably a chicken sandwich in there somewhere. And I'm assuming that that's what you're doing right at this moment. If you're not, stop. Go eat, go get your food, start the podcast over again, and listen to the whole thing while you're eating your lunch, because that's the only thing that makes sense with this podcast about rocks and semen and giant dicks.
There was no mention of semen. Why are you doing that?
You're right. There was no mention of semen. I'm actually gonna edit
Those
rocks.
poor people. We already have the explicit mark. You can just keep it.
All
That's
right,
just
fine.
that's just
There's
what
just-
we've become.
I was thinking of lastinium, and there's semen in there, but we
the
didn't
whole
actually
point
talk
of it is
about it.
to delay said semen.
Semen. You're right. All right. Have a great time. Bye.
Bye.
Later.